Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to a new PHP programming tutorial. So, in this video tutorial, we are going to talk about public and private properties. So, in the previous videos, we've seen that usually when we want to create variables in a class or properties, we proceed them with the keyword public. There are two keywords, public and private. What public means is that this property has public access, right? So, um, to demonstrate this, let's first explain the changes I made. I went to the person class we worked previously on that has first name, last name. I added birth date, as you can see here. Now, when I want to print, in the constructor, I am passing birth also, and this one could be empty. If the birth date is not an empty string, I'm gonna make sure that the birth date is provided in this format: 4 digits for the year, followed by a dash, 2 digits for the month, and 2 digits for the day. So this is a total of 10 characters. So I'm checking here the length of the birth date. If it is not 10, I am gonna cause a problem. A throw new exception means I want my program to create an error, right? Okay, so the program does not continue. Otherwise, I'm gonna use substr to split this string and get the first 4 characters starting from 0. So the first 4 digits, and I'm taking the month digits, which are digits numbers characters number 5 and 6, and the last two digits, which are the characters 8 and 9, right? Then I am checking that the year should be between 1 and 4 nines. If it is not, this means that this is not a valid year, so an error is thrown. For the month, I'm checking it is between 1 and 12. If it is not, this means it's not, I am throwing an error, invalid month, and so on. If all is fine, if all checks out, I am filling the first name and last name and the birth date. For printing, if the birth date is provided, I am printing that, right? Otherwise, I am using the normal or previous print code. And get copies being updated. Now here in the example, I am following the first, last name, and the birth date. So let's have a look at this, right? So no problem here. Now, if I change this one to be the day number 99 of January, or let me, before that, add another digit here, and now refresh. So uncaught exception, invalid birth date. What happened is that this part of the validation code is being triggered. Why? Because the length of the string birth is more than 10. If we let me put a breakpoint here just to demonstrate this, and I refresh. There you go. So we have this one, right? So I press F10, and birth is 11 digits, 3 digits here, sorry. 301, these are 3 digits. The dashes 5, the January 2 digits, and the 4 other. Anyway, so it goes here invalid birth date, and the execution stops, right? Now let's change this a little bit. I'm gonna make 99 here. So now the length is accurate, but the day is wrong. And yeah, so I refresh again, and this one works, this one works. So I am splitting these, so you can see that the year 4 digits, the month 2 digits, and the day is reading 99. So the year is valid. I'm just saying here, if the year is not, this is a not indicator. So if the year is valid, if it is not, then go here. If the month is not valid, and now if the day is not valid, and the day is not valid, so I'm getting an error, right? Okay, as you can see here. right? So invalid day number, okay, and the error we raised is invalid day number. Now let me make this 02 the 2nd of January and refresh to see what's gonna happen. F10, F10. This works perfectly fine, and now I am filling the values, right, as you can see, and then we print the value and okay. So you can see it's working now. So far what you have seen is nothing new. I am just adding a value, and we just seen that how a function, in this case a constructor, could validate the input and accept filling that input only when the input is true. Only when the input makes sense. If the input itself is wrong, we could prevent that. Now, it is possible for us to make a mistake even if there is a validation here. We could just do the following. We could just say arrow birth date equals maybe, okay. So here I created an invalid birth date, and I am filling the object directly. I am accessing the property directly, right? So let me just refresh this, and you can see here I am having an invalid date. Why I am having the ability to access this field in the object and do this wrong, filling it with wrong data? Well, because this is a property. This is a public. So public means that anyone outside the code of the function could access this variable and fill it with whatever they want. Okay, so this means that I could make errors intentionally or not intentional, right? So here the advantage of this function or constructor is that you could never fill an invalid birth date, right? Assuming that this validation is accurate, right? However, with this style of programming, it is very possible that you could fill an object with invalid data. So, to prevent this, to make sure that you will never do something like that, usually the person who writes the library would not give you public access to the variable or member variable. They will make it a private. So I'm making these private, and now I will refresh, and the code doesn't work. Why? Cannot access a private property person birth date, and the line number is 69. So if we go to line number 69, there you go, it's birth date. This is a private member variable or private property, which means you cannot access it like this, which means the only way to fill the variable is through the constructor in here. And since you are filling it through the constructor, the data will always be validated, which means it will be very hard to fill this variable with the wrong data, which means less errors later on in the code. Does that make sense? This is why. Now you might be saying, well, I am careful. I could be careful in the way I am filling data directly. Of course you could. I'm not saying that you will always make errors. No, you could be very careful and do that. But if you remember the previous video, we said that classes are primarily used to create frameworks, and these frameworks will be used by other people to build solutions quickly. Most people does not know how the internals of a solution work. So if they go and modify the variables inside the solution as they like, the behavior of the framework or the solution will be unpredicted, which might result in errors. This is why many libraries does not allow you to access the variables inside them, but rather they would create functions to set these variables or get the values from them. Okay, so this is the reason why you have public variables, private variables. Okay, and there is also even more keywords, like for example protected for functions. You could have public functions, private functions, could have these are publics by default, but you could have also protected functions that you could never override. So don't want to go into too much details, but this I hope explains what the advantages of using public and private in the classes, and why these are being introduced into object-oriented programming. It's just to prevent unwanted access to variables. Okay, so I suppose that will be it for today. I hope this is not a very complicated subject. It's very straightforward. So I think that will be enough for the language itself. And we could now, from the next video, we will start talking about working with objects on the servers, what sessions are, how you pass data back and forth to the browser, and we will start having more fun with PHP. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Bye bye.